Hello again, and today's workout is going to focus on lumbopelvic stability. So we're going to work with some very basic leg movements, and as we move the legs and dissociate the hip from the lumbopelvic region, can we keep our lumbopelvic region in neutral? So that's the key for today's workout. So we start as we do with our feet in parallel, evenly distributing the weight through the triangle of the foot. Knees are soft, and imagine our lumbopelvic region as a bowl of water. So we want that bowl to be filled to the brim without allowing the water to tilt in the front or at the back. So is the bowl tilting in the front? Is it tilting at the back and spilling all the water? Or can we keep that brim up to the brim and keep it filled without any spill? So that's the key here. We're going to work the weight shift, feel the weight moving from the outer border of one foot and inner border of one and to one side. And as we're doing that, wide open through the upper body, so we still have to keep our key elements of the upper body. And then taking the weight shift back and front. Neck is nice and long, ribs are melted in towards the torso. And then from here, once we find our center in the center of our triangle, we're just going to work through different movements in the leg. So we're going to start with just rolling off the heels onto the balls of the toes and coming back down. And we go up and down. Again, like I always say, you can do as many repetitions as you like. You can challenge it by standing on an unstable or a wobbly surface, but I'm just giving you some key and basic exercises to work and start off with the calf muscles. Taking a tiny step out and setting ourselves up for our squats, which is a great exercise for the quadriceps and the glutes. And we can start with our arms pointing outwards or packed into our genie arm position and go into a squat and back. So as we go down, we exhale, inhale to come back up, keeping our knees in line and behind our toes. The knees are in line with the second toe, but they don't cross the toes. We don't want to lean too far forwards. So we're sitting, imagine that there's a chair right behind you. And as you come up, gently connect from the heels into your glutes to come back up. We exhale down and we inhale to come back up. We exhale and we inhale. From here, we're going to take it into our wide squats or our second position pliés. Hands going onto the hip and we go out. And then we're going to add a few combinations. So we just move. Imagine you're sliding along the wall, your tailbone stays pointing down towards the floor, belt muscle is connected, knees are opening out wide, going in the direction of your second toe, and then we're going to stay here and add the calf. So we lift a heel and we lower, and we lift and we lower. So we can just alternate the movement, and all the while through, as we move right from the foot into the hip, with the hip turned out, firing into the glutes. Is our bowl of water staying steady, or are we spilling it in the front or the back? So we want to keep that bowl steady, engage through the belt muscle as we're working. Arms can be packed into your genie arms, or you can just feel what's happening to the pelvis at the level of the headlights, and then we can go doubles. And if you want to add a little coordination or a little bit of a challenge, you can go single, single, double, single, single, double. Just making it fun. Or just stick to the doubles. Add a few pulses. Can we take it a little bit lower? Hold that position. Again, think of our bowl of water and go on to singles, singles, and doubles. So we're really working through the hip muscles, the inner thighs, the outer thighs, adding in some calf as we work, and then we zip it all in and walk our feet back. And now we're going to take it onto the mat. So we're going to come onto our mat in supine lying or lying on the back. We're going to bring our feet in together, make a V and follow the heels through, lining it up all parallel. Knees are pointing up to the ceiling. And again, a quick check on our bowl of water. Finding that balance, and our headlights are pointing up to the front. So on the continuation of the lumbopelvic stability exercises, we want to see again whether we can move through the legs and maintain our stability here. So we're going to go into an exercise called one leg stretch. And it's really simple as you slide the leg down and bring it back. And all you want to align is to see whether your bowl is spilling as your leg goes down. So we want to hold that through the pelvic muscle and maintain our normal hollow in the back with that little grip. If you'd like to revisit the key elements and the alignment of the posture, you can look at our key element video once more just to cue in and get clear with all the positions. So once we've gone into some movements here, we also want to check whether the headlights are shifting from side to side. Taking that to the next one is just a rotation out or a hip twist. And we are alternating the movement. We're going to breathe out as we take the knee out. Breathe in to bring it back. We're firing through the outer thighs and the inner thighs. But we also need a good lower abdominal control to make sure that the pelvis doesn't rotate with us. So we're going to go out and in, and out and in, allowing for the knee that is stationary to imagine that you're balancing a cup of coffee and you don't want to spill it, alternating the movement. And then you can also work with keeping one side moving and continue that for as many repetitions as you like, and then take it over to the other side. We can add a little rhythm of going a single, and then double, keeping the alignment in our lumbopelvic stability, and then taking it into another exercise called scissors at level 1. So we're just moving through, lifting into our tabletop position and back down, engaging through the belt muscle and working through the hip, working through a steady hip on the stationary leg. Is our headlight tilting from side to side as we move? And if so, we gently press the foot on the floor, steady the headlights, engage the belt muscle, and continue melting the ribs onto the mat as we move. And then making that a last one, we're going to just roll over onto our sideline position. This video is only going to demonstrate one side, but we're going to do it on both sides, so we don't forget to do that. You're going to take your head pad and align it so that your arm is nice and long, shoulders are away from the ears, top hand takes the top hip away, creating that space. Knees are bent and they're not too far front or too far back. So again, we're thinking of our bowl of water. Is it spilling in the front? Do we have that neutral pelvis and lower back? And then from here, we're going to lift the top leg up and go into a modified version of our side kick. So working again into the deep groin muscles as we take the leg or thigh towards the tummy, and then pressing away, firing into the buttock. So the lumbopelvic stability exercises are how can we move through the hip, firing through all the hip muscles as our lumbar area or the lower back, and the pelvis stays steady in its neutral position. Can we engage through the core as we're moving and working through the hip muscles? And then we lower the leg. We take that into a longer length and just work on lift and lower. We exhale to lift, we inhale. And here again we want to see, is the pelvis tilting to the side now and spilling the water on the side and then dropping it back from there? Or can you imagine that you have a barbecue spoke going through both your hips as you lift up and down? This is really going to work your outer thigh and your glutes as you move. working through breaking more at the hip than at the waist. So you know that it's a hip movement. Lowering the leg and then turning onto your tummy or into your prone lying position. And you can place your hands by your side or pack them up. We're going to take the tummy away from the mat. Headlights are away and feel length from the tailbone up to the top of the head. We're going into just an exercise which works into your hamstrings. And again, as we do that, do we feel like the buttock wants to pop up? So we've got to control that. And then you can add some ankle movements. So we're going to pulse the heel to go towards the buttock and lower it and switch and lower it, taking the tummy away and maintaining that position. And we pulse, pulse, pulse and bring the leg down. And then on the next one, I'm going to add some ankle movements. So we go heel, toe, heel and down, and heel, toe, heel and down. So we're working through a flex and point. Moving through the ankle and maintaining our lumbopelvic stability. And then we move into just firing on the long leg through our swimming level at a lower level, lifting where the thigh meets the buttock, keeping the headlights steady and not lifting up high so that the back arches, or we shift our weight from side to side, alternating the movement and adding our breath as an exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, and again doing as many repetitions as we like. From our prone line, we're going to come into our all fours, bringing our knees below the hip and then lining up from the top of the head to the tailbone. Hands are in front. And then just working on those leg lifts like we did in swimming. Reach away. Again, we want to keep that steady. So now we have no support, so the belly is not popping. As we move through the leg, the headlights are not turning. We're keeping that connection and firing through the glutes. Breathing out, breathing in. Breathing out and in, alternating that movement. On the last exercise, we're going to work on what's called the tail wag. It works on a rotation mobility in the hip. And again, we want to keep the hip steady. But this time, we're going to add a little spine movement. So we're going to stay here, float the foot off, and we're going to turn the foot to go out and in across the other one. And as we do that, we're going to add a side bend and look at our toes on this side and then onto that. And then here and here. And then go on to the other side. So we tail wag, we're looking at our tail and there, we're happy. Last one. And then we're going to walk back. And then just to finish up, walk into our roll down and then